Hi, I'm Mrs. Hawkins and I'm here to give you another grammar lesson. Today I want to talk to you about complex sentences and how to punctuate those sentences. But before I do that, I want to first show you two independent clauses that can stand alone and they seem unrelated. So we'll start off with I like ice cream, period, and I went to the store. So right now they don't seem like they connect at all. So if I wanted to create one sentence with two independent clauses, I could go in here and put a period and then bring that sentence up with an and. And those are still two independent clauses. I like ice cream and I went to the store. So that would be the proper way to punctuate that. But if I wanted to show a relationship now between these two thoughts, I like ice cream, I went to the store, then I could actually put in something called a subordinating conjunction, and that changes the way you punctuate. But now if I wanted to change that relationship and show why those two sentences can go together, I might put something like this at the beginning of the sentence. Because I like ice cream, I went to the store. Now you can see that even though I had an independent clause here, I like ice cream, by putting because in front of it, now it has created this subordinating clause or a dependent clause, and that cannot stand alone. If I took away I went to the store, because I like ice cream is not a complete thought. It needs the rest of the story. So I went to the store explains the rest of the story. Because I like ice cream, I went to the store. And the proper way to punctuate that is with a comma after the dependent clause, because I like ice cream. Now, if I wanted to turn it around and say move this clause, this dependent clause, to this side, I would get rid of the capitalization and my period would go there. So I went to the store because I like ice cream. Now this is the proper way to punctuate this sentence, because with a dependent clause after an independent clause, you do not need a comma. And that goes with any kind of subordinating conjunction that you would have here. If the dependent clause starts the sentence, then you have a comma after it before the independent clause. But if you start with an independent clause, then you can just add the dependent clause without the punctuation. Okay, so we have I went to the store because I like ice cream. The other way that we can show this sentence is to reverse it. So because I like ice cream, I went to the store. Now you might be wondering if there are other kinds of subordinating conjunctions like because that would do the same thing. Well, there are. So if I have words like when or if, that's also going to be the same situation. So when I go backpacking, I bring lots of water. So same situation. I go backpacking is an independent clause. I bring lots of water is an independent clause. But adding the when to it makes this a dependent clause. And when the dependent clause comes first, then you have a comma after it. Now if I took this sentence and I reversed it, then the comma would actually disappear, because I don't need a comma when I have my independent clause first and then my dependent clause. So I bring lots of water when I go backpacking. And then we can do the same thing with an if. An if starts the sentence, then it's automatically going to, the next thing is going to be a clause, a dependent clause. So you're going to want to think about that when you go to punctuate. Now there are some cases where you don't always have to put the comma after the dependent clause, but I highly recommend it just so that you can keep your thoughts straight and help your reader understand your thoughts so you can communicate effectively, because that's what writing is all about, communicating your thoughts effectively in writing. So if I started my sentence with if we get a lot of snow, we may have a snow day. So once again, we get a lot of snow, could stand by itself. We may have a snow day, can stand by itself as well, but with the addition of if to this sentence, now this is a dependent clause and a comma should come after it before we have the rest of the story. So if we get a lot of snow, we may have a snow day. And once again, if I reverse that sentence, I won't need the comma. So I can start with, we may have a snow day if we get a lot of snow. So those are just some helpful hints to start you on the way of punctuating your complex sentences. So all of these are examples of complex sentences, and it just depends on whether the dependent clause comes first or the independent clause comes first, whether you have a comma there or not. Thank you for watching, and leave a comment if you have any questions.